Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna keep it short because I'm exhausted. I'm sorry I didn't upload yesterday, but um, kind of had a very important thing come up, and it kind of makes me want to talk about loss, um, especially when it's someone close to you. Losing someone just can tear your life apart. And it's just speaking from things I've seen and experienced. Sadly, it can tear a family apart. It's like there's almost like a hole, like it's like a void missing from what was once there, and you can't really fill it. It's a very sad thing. Not just sad, it's heartbreaking because it's like you won't be able to operate normally, I guess. It's kind of like you are just trying to push through it a lot of the time, and it's never that easy. Um, and especially when you have to take care of people around you, it almost becomes like an obligation. And that's a weird way of putting it, but I think that's the best way I can describe it. It feels kind of like an obligation to be there for those people, even though you're also hurting with them, you know. And it's like no one wants to see you hurting, but it's like but you also have to remember that if you are, those people will be there for you. And those are my thoughts on loss and how it can affect people. Um, I feel like a lot of the time people don't slow down and really like accept what happened, and they're just kind of in this standstill where they don't really know how to accept what's going on. And in between, again, like taking care of their family and everyone they care about who was close with the person who's gone, um, they also have to take care of themselves, which is a thing that I think a lot of people do not do. They just don't take care of themselves because they're just so focused on what happened or taking care of the people around them that they just, in a sense, just give up on themselves. And I get that everyone grieves differently, but I feel like just as kind of like a status quo, you should never put yourself down or like not allow yourself to really accept what's going on in your life just because like like you have other people that you want to be there for, you know, like you what you're feeling is still very important, and it's something that some people can't seem to recognize. It's as sad as that is. They would rather just forget about their emotional state and keep moving forward, and then eventually, whether they like it or not, their emotions kind of just like click, snap back into place. And it's like once you get to that point, I feel like they don't know where to go. Especially when things get progressively worse as time goes on, it's almost like unavoidable to feel this type of dread. And it doesn't even just have to be with like losing someone, like it could just be like losing, moving, or anything, you know? A lot of people can go through loss of a friendship maybe. And again, people come and go. People are supposed to be in your life for a season. That's what I believe. And sometimes when that season's over, it's not always easy to move on. Sometimes it's some of the hardest things you can do. Um, and I think a lot of people will just want to give up. It's sad, but it's the reality of it. Um, Sometimes I feel like it's hard to give yourself a break. And like I feel like that plays a lot into people's obligation to be there for people, because it's kind of like a survivor's guilt, where it's kind of like, oh, why am I like still here, or why did this happen, and my life is just moving on, no matter what you lost, especially when you're losing a loved one or have lost a loved one. Um, I've always felt like I felt that before, and it's like, again, you just don't cut yourself a break. It's like your mind's just like telling you like things to keep yourself down, to push yourself down, and it's almost traumatizing to an extent because it just completely warps your self-image, and you're like, you don't really know how to move forward. And the thing is about losing something or someone who's very important in your life is the fact that a lot of the time it's just you don't get used to you don't just get used to like those people disappearing, like not soon anyways. And it's kind of just like you learn how to live without them. You can't just like move on with your life, especially mostly when it's someone who's very important to you. But when that happens, it's kind of like, where do I go from here? How am I gonna like navigate a life without them and try to really move forward? Sometimes things aren't so black and white, and I think that's hard for a lot of people to see. It's not about moving on, it's about getting used to a reality without that person. And that doesn't mean in 10, 20 years you're going to be okay with it, but it just means you're going to know how to live with it. You'll figure out in some sense of the word how to accept what happened and how to move forward with your life. And I mean, that goes for a lot of things. People will just tear themselves apart. Overthinking it's a killer, and comparing yourself to people like that, and in the same way will also just completely warp your self-image. It leads to a whole can of worms that you just don't want to open up. And you're just talking about like body dysmorphia or depression, anxiety. You're always second guessing yourself, it seems, when you just don't learn how to grieve in a healthy way. And it's not wrong to grieve. So just cut yourself a break. It's all right. You're allowed to cry. And you're allowed to go through whatever you're going through, And I know as a guy, sometimes that's hard for us. I feel like for most females, or women, sorry, I don't know why I just called you guys. It's easier to just, be more emotional. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's beautiful to be able to express your emotions without like kind of having to hold back. And again, for the most part, like not all women go through the same things, and I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm a guy. I can't ever fully know what you guys go through. But yeah, to the guys, I do know it's hard to just cry sometimes, or to just like be vulnerable with people that you care about and tell them that it's hurting. Tell them what's going on. And to all of you, I'd like to say just be open. Like, it's not wrong to just be yourself. It's not. Especially if who you are is like a beautiful person. And also just be prepared, because whether you like it or not, it's going to be exhausting. And again, you can't really prepare for it. I mean, you can. I feel like in rare circumstances, or you can find some type of peace for it, depending on the circumstance of how you lose someone, or just lose something. But it'll still hurt, like it'll never just be like, oh, okay, like I was ready, like it's okay. You can never do that. It's not human. This video is probably the hardest one for me to record so far, but I'm trying my best. And always just remember that if you're like there for someone, right, who lost someone, don't just say to yourself, how can I feel bad? Like, it's them who's going through it. You're allowed to feel upset. You know, obviously you're not going to ever be upset as the person who's closer with them is, but you're allowed to feel upset, you know. Being that person, being that rock is exhausting. When you're holding everyone up, it's just like a weight on your shoulders. But what I like to say about that is that it's kind of like if you can handle it, it's a good weight. But just know how to set boundaries. Just be there for someone, but don't crumble because you're trying to do that. Always remember, I don't think you should have yourself as your number one priority ever, but you should always have yourself as a priority. So if you see yourself starting to crack under all this pressure you're putting yourself under because you want to be there for this person, just set some boundaries, you know? Even if it's just like, hey, can we not talk about this tonight? Because as rational as their emotions are, and as good as it is for them to be vulnerable with someone, it's also important that you be vulnerable with how you're feeling as the person who's supporting them, and just letting them know that you can't handle it. And that's okay. We're not always meant to handle everything. Sometimes things are just too much. And that's all right. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Any criticisms, questions, or just like statements about what I said, I'm always curious to hear. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or tonight. I might do too, but we'll see.